Morning, brethren. Welcome to another day, and we turn again to the fourth commandment as we find it in Exodus chapter 20 and verses 7 and following. There are many places, of course, in the scriptures where God speaks about the Sabbath and how it is to be observed. And in dealing with this subject, we need to ask ourselves, what are the ways in which we are to observe the Sabbath for the glory of God and for our own benefit? This morning, I want us to think about what is probably the most obvious aspect of keeping the Sabbath day holy, and that is that the Sabbath is meant to be a day of rest. Go back to the original instituting of the Sabbath, as we find it in the book of Genesis, after God created the world, and we're told that God creates the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. Whenever we come to the commandment in the book of Exodus, we read there that we are to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days we are to labour and do all our work, but the seventh is a Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work, you nor your male servant, your female servant, your ox, your ass, and so on. And what the first aspect of the Sabbath observance is emphasizing is the need for a day of rest from normal daily tasks and responsibilities. We are not to work on the Sabbath. Now, there are, of course, exceptions. There are works of necessity, works of mercy, and works of piety. Works of necessity would include those who are firemen, those who are working in the electricity industry, providing electric for homes, those who are policemen, and so on. Works of mercy include those working in hospitals, those working in nursing homes, and so on. And not only works of necessity and works of mercy, but works of piety. The priests worked in the Old Testament. They worked on the Sabbath day. They offered sacrifices on the Sabbath day. They were serving God. And similarly today, on the Sabbath day, ministers of the gospel have to work. They have to lead services of worship and preach. So there are exceptions to the general principle. But the principle is this, that for the most part, the Sabbath day is to be a day of rest. A day when we don't go into the office, a day when we don't go into the shop, a day when we don't go to our normal job, and a day when we take time off. As human beings, we need rest from the demands of daily life. And also for mothers and housewives, a day of rest from the normal labours that are associated with that. So in other words, it's a day when you do take time off from doing the washing and the ironing and the cleaning of the house and so on. The principle is that as God rested, so we are to rest. And God incorporates that in the actual commandment itself. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth and all that in them is, and he rested on the seventh day. He rested. God did not rest because he was tired. God did not rest because he needed to take a break. He rested in order to establish a principle. And the principle was that this day was to be different from the other days. And one of the chief ways in which it is to be different is that it's characterized by rest. And don't forget that the reason for this is for the good of humankind. It's for your good and my good. Mentally, physically, emotionally, we need a day to switch off from all the demands and all the responsibilities and all the duties that are associated with normal everyday life during the working week. So the principle of the Sabbath and how to observe it begins that it's to be a day of rest. Yes, if you're a farmer, the animals will need fed, the cows will need milked. But it's not a day to go out and to cut the barley. It's not a day to go out and to begin the harvest. It's to be a day of rest. If you're at home, yes, there are tasks that will have to be done, but it's not a day for doing things that can be done on other days of the week and that don't need to be done on the Lord's Day. So, brethren, take the rest that God wants you to take. Enjoy the wonderful benefits of that rest. And rest from your labours. Give your mind, your body, and your soul the refreshment that it needs as you start up looking towards the week that lies ahead. So may God bless you throughout this day, and may you look forward to the Sabbath day as a day of rest. Every blessing.